Hi everybody, I'm Claire. I'm going to show you today how to create a black eye, not with professional makeup or the little kits that they send you that are so hard to find and figure out how to use, and it's usually really crappy makeup. So today I'm going to teach you how to do it with just everyday regular makeup. So a lot of this makeup I actually found at Walmart. These are just the L'Oreal Duo combos. This one is Brazen. This is actually a really good one for bruising, as well as Striking, which is a yellow and deep purple, and Brazen is a pink and dark brown. So I also have some other fun things like fake blood I got at a regular theatrical store. This one's more of like a gel, so it stays shiny, looks fresh. And just other colors I think I'll need, like another dark purple. This one is Ignited. It's got a gold and a purple. This purple's a little bit lighter, so it adds some nice tones, as well as just regular eyeliner and such, black, white, the usual. So today I'm going to be showing you how to make a black eye. And as you know, bruises have different stages of healing. When I do bruising, I like to, depending on the stage of the bruise, start from the lightest color and build up. An older bruise obviously is going to have like more yellows and purples and greens in it, so you'd really want to start with the yellow and then work your way up to the darker colors. That way it gives it a more natural, realistic look. Obviously I have base on right now, just base. It gives me a nice clean surface to work with. Personally, I use the Kat Von D Lock It Tattoo Foundation. For me, I have very problem skin. I have psoriasis along my scalp, so it covers it really well. Alright, so to start, you're going to want to start with, since we're going to make this look very fresh, I'm going to make the illusion of swelling. So you really want to start with your pinks and your whites. I also have white eyeliner with me today, really helpful. You can use any brand you want, and it's actually one of like your best tools in your toolbox. I have like 12 sticks of white eyeliner. So you're going to start out, and you're going to want to just spread the white along your cheekbone to give it a nice highlighted base. And as you can see already, it's starting to make this one pop out more than the other cheekbone. And then just kind of blend it out with your finger. I have a mirror over here, so if I keep looking over here, that's why. And you're just going to want to build that up a little bit, give it a nice even look. Alright, and see how already it makes it pop out more? So next I'm going to go in with a nice, it's a concealer brush, so it's a little bit larger. And I'm going to add some dark around the bottom to make it pop. And I really like to blend with my fingers. I think it gives it a nice soft look. And you can get a lot more done with your finger. And you want to leave kind of a harsh line against the white and the brown. And see, it's already looking swollen. So now you're going to want to come in with a little bit of the pink to give it that look of, you know, just being hit. Now I'm starting with just this area because this is the area of my major swelling. Now you kind of always want to make a backstory as you are creating your makeup, because depending on how the person, say, would be hit, would give it a different look. Depending on like who hit them, where they were hit. Say it's somebody shorter than you, they'd be punching up. So you'd have more swelling down along the bottom of the cheekbone. If they're the same height as you or taller, they'd be punching more in. So it's going to be more around like here. Now if you have somebody a lot taller than you, it might even be up at the top of the eye. So you really have to work with that to come with the character. Alright. I also have a bright red lip liner with me because it's wonderful for creating cuts and scars. So I'm just going to kind of come in with a little line along the edge of the swelling. And I'm going to put a little bit of the pink out around it to kind of soften it up a bit. And see already it's kind of starting to look like a cut. Alright. Sorry, I had a hair on my nose. Alright. And then I'm going to come in with my gooey fake blood. I like to thin it out a little bit with just a touch of water. That way it's not, because otherwise it's just this thick, goopy gel. So if I thin it out with a little bit of water, which is in my sink right here, it's a little bit easier to work with. And I'm just going to dab it on my cut. And you kind of want it to look more goopy. So sometimes I mix in a little bit of black eyeliner with it. And you can even make your own fake blood. There's recipes everywhere online. It's mostly just gelatin and food coloring. But be careful when you're making your own because it tends to stain your skin. Like, bad. It's no fun trying to go to work with a red line stain on your face. Alright, and then sometimes I like to take a little bit of the thicker and just kind of drip it down. Like it was bleeding down your face. And you kind of want to make it natural, so you want more than one spot of it bleeding down. And you kind of want to blend it out. And see, look, it already is looking like a real cut. So now I'm going to take a little bit of black along the edges of the cut. If I can find another brush that I want to use. I have quite a few brushes with me today. I have a lot of eyeshadow brushes that they're actually really wonderful to work with, and liner brushes. The little slanted liner brushes are your best friend. So I'm going to take a bit of my very dark purple, almost black, because it looks more natural than actual black, and just take it and kind of fade it out a little bit. You can do this before or after you put the blood on. Some people prefer to do it before. I prefer to do it afterwards because it can get a little bit of the blood mixed in sometimes, which will give it a good natural look. And see already it's making it pop a bit more. And it doesn't look completely realistic yet, but as I build up, it will look more realistic. But the blood looks good. So you're going to go ahead and go back in with your white liner again. And you just want to go a little bit along the edges here and there. Just little touches of white to make it look, once again, swollen. And see just those little pops of white, give it a nice contrast. And then you can go back in with your red and just kind of blend it a little bit. Just kind of dab it, like stipple it. It gives it a more natural look. And the red gives the illusion of swelling again. And I'm actually going to take a little bit of my red and blend it with my white in some spots. A little bit along this edge over here, because once again we do want that look of puffiness. I'm also going to take this liner and put it under my eye, and again this is the lip liner, the red. And see, it's already giving that illusion of almost swelling. And I'm going to go along the top as well, because if you get hit in the eye, it's going to get very,
very red and painful and swollen. And it doesn't have to be pretty when you're putting on the liner, obviously. It's not a very pretty looking eye. And I'm also going to go back in with my little liner brush and pink and go over that so I can blend it out a bit. And just kind of blend it. And like I said, we're building up from the light colors to the darker colors, because it makes it look more natural, because the tones of the lighter colors, the pinks and the reds, will pop out through the darker colors. And we're not going to be using any yellows today because this is supposed to be a fresh looking punch to the eye. And I'm getting fake blood all over my hands. Try not to touch the blood. Some people prefer to put that on in the last, but I like to build around it. Makes it a little bit more difficult to work with, but I think you can get more of a natural look with it. And I'm just blending this pink along my lid. And again, blending this pink out underneath my eye. And then we're going to go in the corner of the eye now. And you want to get that whole area, like that whole little spot right in here of the shadows, and just kind of follow the natural curve of your eye and blend it. And see, look, it's already starting to look very swollen, very gross. And I'm actually going to put a little bit of pink, a little bit more pink, just along here in this swelling, and blend. Because once again, we're trying to create a realistic, swollen looking punch to the face. Which I also have white shadow to work with to blend a little bit better too. And for the white shadow, I just like to take a finger, and I'm actually going to put a little bit more underneath along here. So looking more swollen as we go. And I'm just going to go all the way up to kind of lighten it up again, because we don't want it to get too dark yet. Alright, so now, again, I like to use my fingers. Great blending tool. I've got the brown piled up on there, and I'm going to build it up on my eyelid. And you don't want to go completely to the crease. I mean, you want to blend a little bit in there, but you want to go more out. Because once again, we are giving the illusion of a swollen black eye. And then you want to pull it under. And then when I go under the eye, I like to take my concealer brush back, because it's nice and light and fluffy, and you can do some nice blending with this one as well. And just kind of work my way out. And I want to go all the way up to the brow. Gives it a better illusion. And you want to just keep blending out. Alright. And build up a little bit onto that swollen area. And once again, you really don't want it to be dark around the edges at all. As I'm getting it more and more around my face, you want it to blend out naturally. Sorry, I got a little bit of a stuffy nose. Alright, now I'm going to take my really dark purpley black and get that all in there. Make it look like a nice bruise. And kind of build it around that cut too. And blend it into your white. so it looks nice and swollen.
Alright, and then we're going to go back in with our pink again. Go over it all again, because this is supposed to be more of a fresh wound.
So you want it to have that more of a red tone.
And pink is a more natural, fleshy tone of red. The only time that you're really red is when you're bleeding, hence the blood. Alright, so we're just going to keep building this up and just blending. Blending, blending, blending. And as you can see, it's already looking more swollen and bruised. And I've actually done this before with my friend. We used to do hair and makeup for my old school. And we decided to just leave it on after the play was over. Went upstairs, and we got a few concerned parents.
So it can be quite convincing when you do it right. I'm just going back in again with the purple. I'm just kind of mixing it all up.
Again, blending with the finger. Alrighty. And at this point, you probably got a little bit of powder on the blood, so it kind of lost that shimmery, convincing look of fresh blood. So I'm going to go back in with my blood and just dab it on there again.
And see, it's just got that nice fresh look to it.
Alrighty. And again, I'm going to thin it out a little bit with some water. Now, if you get it really thin and kind of watery, you can let it just drip down your cheek. And it'll give it a nice natural drip. As you can see, that is not a pretty looking cut. And I like to kind of smear it a little bit sometimes too, because I mean, it's not like nobody touched it. And you can even use a bit of the watered down blood to blend it out and make it look kind of like it's splattered a bit on your face. So get that on your finger, and it has a little bit, my finger still has the shadow on it obviously, and I'm just going to dab it up and around. And if it gets too sticky, it might just pull up the shadow. So you want to make sure that there is plenty of water. And just kind of blend it up. Alright, and if I'm going to do splattering, I like to take a old toothbrush and make this really runny, watery, and dip it in there and just kind of flick it onto my face. I'm not going to be doing that tonight because I just showered and don't want it all in my hair. But it gives it a much more convincing look, and I can give you a small example without getting it everywhere by just mixing it up into the brush. You can also do it with your brush and just flick it and see how it gives it that kind of, well, you can't really see it very well, but it gives it a very fine speckled look around the face. It gives it more of a natural splatter look.
And if you look really close, you can see some of it.
And now I've got it on my fingers again, so I'm just going to kind of blend a bit more in there. And see how I still have this lighter area, it makes it look more swollen again. Alrighty. Just going to go back in and blend a little bit more right through here. Give it a darker look. That was the purple, and I'm just going to go back in with pink again. And go all the way over so it has that nice light look to it. And as you can see, it's already looking very much like a convincing black eye.
I'm going to go back in with my red liner. trying to go back over that initial line I made and kind of blend it out a little bit.
So I have more of that red tone.
Once again. And just kind of blending. And just blend, blend, blend away.
All right, and as you can see, it looks gross. And again, I got a shadow back on there. So I'm just going to, once again, freshen that up. And I like to kind of drip it all the way down the face, so it looks like more natural, more real. And I've actually been told by a police officer that my blood splatter is convincing, so that was a very good compliment for me. I was working at a haunted house, but also a little creepy. But that's pretty much it. You can keep blending and you can add more yellow tones if you want a little bit older. Then you'd want to do just more of a cut with stitching over it. I can do another tutorial for that if you want. But as you can see, it looks fairly convincing. You can always blend more and do more splatter, make it bloodier if you want, darker if you like, but I prefer more of a subtle look to it. So this is it for my very first tutorial of how to create gross, creepy looking black eye with household makeup. I hope you liked it. I hope you follow me, and I hope you like my makeup page on Facebook too. Claire Kuda Makeup. All right, thank you. Have a good night.